Hey, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be going over Git. And the first thing I'm going to be covering is Git versus GitHub. What is the difference? Well, Git is an actual program that manages your local repositories. And GitHub is an actual website that hosts your external repository. Now, you can actually spend your whole entire time using Git without actually using GitHub. But GitHub makes a nice, easy way to have a WAN repository so you and your coworkers or peers can actually have a collaboration and work on a project without having a real complicated repository. So all you have to do is sign up, make your repository, and you can have you and your coworkers actually working on the same project. But like I said before, you can actually use Git without GitHub. So these commands are great for managing your own personal repository, and you actually don't have to push them to an external repository, or you don't have to use GitHub as your external repository. Just something to keep in mind. Now, I am going to show you how to actually create your own repository inside of GitHub. Right here, I actually have a list of what you want to look for. If you want to pause it and actually reference it whenever you're going into the website, you can do that. But I am going to show you inside of the website, and let's hop over there right now. Alright guys, the first thing you're going to have to do is actually create an account, so you can actually just look up github.com. And once you're here, you're just going to want to sign up, and then you can actually create an account. Once you've done that, then you've actually created your account. You're going to have a screen similar to this right here. And you're just going to go up to this plus to actually create a repository. You're going to go down to New Repository. Once you get to New Repository, you're just going to give it a name. So let's just do Hello and World. Alright. And you can put a description if you want to. You can make it public or private. And then you can just create repository. Once you do that, you're going to get a little screen right here to actually show you the commands to actually use this repository, and also the URL that you're actually going to be able to type in. And to actually use this inside of your terminal, you're going to actually have to create a personal access token. And how you actually do that is you're going to just want to go up to your account right here, and you're just going to go straight down to settings. Once you're in settings, you're just going to go down to developer settings, and then you're going to go to personal access tokens. I'm going to click the classic tokens right here, and we're just going to generate a new token. Okay, and I'm going to go with classic once again. Now you can actually have whatever limitations you want this token to come with. So you can actually go down through here to select all this, and once you actually have your selection, you can put your note. So let's just put new token. Alright. And now we can generate the new token. Let's hop back over to LibreOffice so I can show you the rest about Git. Alright, now that we're back in LibreOffice, I'm just going to go over a few commands. These are going to be the same ones we're going to be going over inside of the terminal. These are going to be some of the more common ones that you're going to run into. The first one's going to be git init. This is just going to be git initialize, just a little shorter. The second one's going to be git status. This is going to just be like an ls, like, hey, what's going on? Keep you up to date. Git log is going to be an actual log of commands that you've actually ran, and commits that you've actually done, and updates that you've done to your different branches. Now git pull is actually going to, it's like git clone, but it's actually pulling down that external repository and updating everything that you have inside of your directory that you're actively working on. Git add is going to be updating the staging area so that you can get ready to make a commit. Git commit is actually saying, hey, this is ready to be sent up to this outside server. It's pretty much updating your own local server and saying that, hey, I want to update my local repository. Now git push, this is actually going to be updating the external repository, which in today's video we're going to be using GitHub, obviously. Now for the actual GitHub commands in use, and these are going to be more relatable because these are going to be the format that you're actually going to have to use these commands. Whenever you're pulling a repository, you just type git pull, the actual URL, and it's just going to be the URL of your repository. I can show you. Pretty much the main thing is going to be your account and then the repository name. That's pretty much it with GitHub. .com at the front. Get status, like I said, is going to update you. It's like an ls. Get add, the dot is going to add everything that is new with your work area. Get commit, -m, you're just going to throw your message in here. In this message you can actually read when in get log, and you can actually see what someone did or what you personally did at some point in time. Also, it helps having a good message here. That way you can just turn it back if you end up messing something up. Get branch. So the first thing, you're going to have to actually make a main branch, and then you can branch off afterwards. But you're just showing you here, get branch and the -m flag, and also the branch name. Get remote, add origin. So this is going to be adding your repository to your local repository. So your local repository will be able to know where it's supposed to be pushing to. Get log, like I said before, it's just going to show you a log of everything, that all your commits and everything like that. And get push origin master. This is going to change. Like I said, master is going to be your branch, so if your branch is different, obviously you're going to have to change that name. Now, this kind of demonstration makes it a little bit easier. The stages of the get command. Now, where you're working at is your actual workspace. It's the easiest way for me to understand it, at least. Your workspace is what you're actually editing, what you're actually doing, all the active things that you're actually manipulating to actually change the actual directory that you're in. Now, when you're ready to update your local repository, what you're going to actually want to do is do a get add and dot. That's going to update everything that I've done since I started working on it. Normally I don't do one thing at a time, I normally do it all, but everybody's going to have their own use case. So once you do that, you've now updated the staging area. Now, at this point, you haven't even updated your local repository yet. You can just go get status. You can see that everything's being ready to be committed. Once you've checked everything over, made sure that you like what you see, you're actually ready to update your local repository, then you want to actually commit it. So then you're going to get commit -m and then put your message there, and this is actually where it's going, is your local repository. Once it goes to your local repository, it's still not going to update GitHub, but your local repository is up to date. It's going to be inside of your logs. You're going to be able to back up to a previous version. I mean, it's just inside your local repository. To update the external repository, you're going to actually have to push that commit that you just did, and I'll be showing you that inside of the terminal. If you want to skip the get add step, you can do a get commit -a, and like I said before, here's the get clone and get pull. It's doing similar things, but whenever you're get pulling, you're actually pulling down that other person's repository. Get clone is almost automatically making a fork of that repository that's out there. You are cloning everything down, but it's not really connected to that repository, unlike get pull. Get init is pretty much just saying, hey, this workspace is correlated with a Git repository, creating a little local repository, just saying, hey, this directory is now a Git repository, and so on. So, hey, let's hop into the terminal and we can go over a few of these commands. Alright guys, I'm just going to show you how to download Git. It should be on your repository by default, but if it isn't, I'm just going to do a sudo apt install Git. And you can see I already have it installed. Most like your distro is also going to have it installed by default. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a directory that we're going to make into a repository. So let's just do a make dir test. And let's just cd into test. If I do a ls-la, you can see there's nothing inside of here. But to make this a repository, we're just going to do a get init. Now if I do a ls-la, you can see that we have a .get right here, and I can just cd into that. So cd into .get. And this is just going to be your configuration files for your repository. You're really not going to have to mess with that too much. Okay, and we're just going to create a test file here. So let's just do a touch and also call that test, and we can nano into test, and we can just do alright, and now we can save that, and we can also make a directory. Now if I do a get status, You can see that we have some untracked files here, so this is just what I've been editing. It's only inside of my work area. To actually put it up to the staging area, we're just going to do a git add. Okay, so let's just do a git add, and you can add individual files, but to add everything that you've actually changed, we're just going to put a dot right there to say everything inside this repository. Now if I do a git status, you can see that we have the new files inside of the staging area, and now we're just going to commit that to actually update our local repository. So we can do a git commit -m, and we can put whatever note we want inside of here. I'm just going to be simple and call it first commit. And now we're going to create a branch. So let's just do a git branch -M, and I'm going to call it main. And now we're going to add the remote repository. I'm just going to do a git remote add origin and put the URL right at the end there. Now to actually push it up to our Git repository, we're just going to do a git push -u and put origin and main. And now it's going to ask for our username. Okay, and then it's going to ask for our access token. So whatever access token you actually created, you can just copy that over. All right. And once it actually updated, we've moved it from our repository actually up to the Git repository. So I'll show you that right here, what it looks like inside of GitHub. Now inside of GitHub right here, we're just going to go to our Hello World repository. And you can actually see we have our first commit right here, and you can see our test, and you can see the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs. So we've successfully updated our Git repository, and you can actually use your tokens and give them to other people to actually collab inside of your project that you're actually working on. So GitHub is very useful. Hopefully I helped you guys out. If you liked the video, throw a like down, and see you next time. Peace.